Someone's asked me, how do you use gentle bioenergetics with children? And this is one of my favorite areas of working. All through my therapeutic work and my life, I have really enjoyed working with children. And I've learned a lot with children. In fact, my mentor for me is actually my 8-year-old granddaughter. As I learn more about life from her than probably anybody I have in the world. And sometimes she said something to me like, "Grandpa, don't you realize if you're mean to people, they're not going to like you much?" And what she was really saying is, "Grandpa, don't be mean to me anymore." And I had to take a look at that and see what it was that I was saying that she felt I was being mean to her. And so she teaches me. She's the one that honestly says to me what she thinks, and I have to listen to that and learn. I've learned a lot from children, all different kinds of children, and gentle bioenergetics can be very, very productive in helping children. My sense in working with children is it's important to have the parents involved, and so I like to have mom and dad come and share with me trauma lifelines about what happened to the child, and to ask the child, were you aware of that? And sometimes a child is surprised, and it helps them in their lives. I have encouraged parents to go home and tell their children their birth stories, their beginnings, because the memory's already in the body. And you tell it like a bedtime story, depending on the age of the child. Maybe not all the gory details, but they already know if they were wanted or not wanted. It's in their body. And it can be a wonderful opportunity to heal the experiences that they went through or the memories. One mother, after being in a training program, decided to go back and tell her 10-year-old, 11-year-old son the story of his birth. He was a really neat young man, enjoyed being around him, he was fun. But sometimes he could be also difficult in the family. Because if somebody said they wanted to go and get a sandwich, he would say, "I want to go get pizza." If they said they wanted to go get pizza, he would say, "I want to go get ice cream." It was always creating some tension. And the mother went back and told him his birth story. And his amazement was, "So that's why I'm hungry all the time." And he stopped fighting. He stopped having to compete. In part because he no longer had to compete for food. He understood where it came from. And his whole demeanor of being in the family changed, shifted. Much to the enjoyment of mom and dad as they worked with him. I've also been clear in often teaching parents how to do the things with their children and being open to accepting and understanding children's emotions and their need to express these openly and in a healthy environment. And where that happens is the children are not as needy as they are in families that don't want to listen to children's emotions and needs. So it's been a wonderful experience. I also learned in working with children to do home visits, to see where they live, see where they play, understand it. And I learned this from a woman who shared it with me in a workshop and many others as well. And she talked about a young student, young boy, who everybody thought there was something wrong with him. Because when he would color the sky, he would paint it red. And when he would paint the ground, he would color it brown. Now, everyone knows in my country that the sky is blue and the ground is green with grass. So they thought something was really wrong with him. He also talked about on vacation at Christmas time, he ate blood pudding in the eyes, and they thought, this young man really has some serious problems. Well, she went to visit his home. And when she got to his house, she noticed he lived across the street from a steel mill. The sky actually was red from the blast furnaces of that time. And the ground was all brown. The blast furnaces had burned all the grass. There wasn't any. And when she talked to the family, they said, well, they went to Ireland for their vacation and they had their traditional blood pudding. And so there really wasn't anything wrong with this young man. It was just no one had bothered to go see his home and learn his story. And I learned a lot from that and discovered there was a great deal of value in going and visiting the home. And sometimes when dads were working so hard they didn't have time to come and see me, I'd go see them at work and say, I need your input on what's happening with your child. So I think it's very important, when possible, to include both parents and maybe even some of the other siblings when a child's struggling. I've taught a lot of children how to express their anger in safe ways and within the family's agreement. And I had one little boy who was, about 8 years old and had an older brother who was 12. And the older brother was just a great athlete in school. He was best grades, most popular kid in the class. And this other little guy was very thin, small build, last one picked on sports teams, and not doing so well in grades as the other boy. But he was having to live up to that because he was going through the same school that the older boy had. The whole family came, the older boy. They were all very concerned about him. So somehow I had him beginning to hit a pillow with a tennis racket. And this young man started to hit that pillow. And he kept hitting that pillow, and he kept hitting that pillow. And he didn't stop. And finally I stopped him because I was concerned he was going to injure his hands with blisters. And he did get some small blisters. And I apologized, but the parents said, no, we're glad. He finally is letting out some of his emotions. And his older brother at 12 was just on his seat, excited, watching him express all of this energy that was from within him. And so those are some of the things that I've learned in working with children, and it's a wonderful opportunity to use gentle bioenergetics tools. When maybe the most important one is butterfly touch massage, which parents can do with all of their children and can be a real source of healing if there was any kind of primal trauma, but can also help to create bonding and attachment and connection with their children. And it's a great opportunity to work.